Isang mapagpalayang pagbati po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Ka-RJ Javellana Jr. Welcome po kayong lahat dito sa ating palatuntunang Talakayang Bayan. Ang Talakayang Bayan po ay pinamumunuan ng Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino. At kung kayo po ay nasa Mindanao, nasa Visayas, nasa Luzon at nasa Ibayong Dagat, pakilike lamang po ang Facebook page ng Partido KDP o Katipunan Demokratikong Pilipino. Ngayon po ay ika-7 ng Setyembre 2021.
Ako po si Butch Valdes ng KDP. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Casiño, ang inyong lingkod. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat at magandang araw kung nasan dako ng daigdig kayo. Ang ngayon po ay patungkol dito sa walang katapusang GCQ. At meron na naman silang pinapahayag na ulat sa parang nakot sa ating mamamayan. At binuong inyong lingkod, itong maikling introduction. Ber, pakilagay nga po yung PowerPoint slide. Ito po ang ating target ngayon ay itong GCQ hanggang katapusan ng buwan. Pero talagang totoo niyan, walang katapusan. Ayon nga dito, yung sabi ng gobyerno ay isinusulong daw nila itong GCQ hanggang katapusan ng Setyembre. Pero tila hindi ata na isulong ito ngayon. At sabi nila, i-extend nila ang MCQ. Pero hanggang ngayon, ano ba na klaseng gobyerno ito? Hindi nila nalalaman ang gagawin nila. Next slide, please. Sabi nga nila dito na base nga sa kanilang ulat na ito na din nakatatlong araw, sunod-sunod, ang pagpasok ng pagdami ng mga nahawaan. Next slide, please. Na ito na daw siguro pinakabagong normal dahil nga ang pagpupuna sa paghahawa ng COVID-19 ay pumapalo ng mahigit 20,000 na sunod-sunod. Ito nakaraan 3 araw. Next slide, please. Ngunit, bagamat ganun nga ang sinusulong ng ating pamahalaan, wala pang talagang tiyak na pamaraanan kung paano ipatutupad itong GCQ. Kaya nga sa kasalukuyan may kumakalat niya sa social media na hindi daw itutuloy. Tuloy ba o hindi? Pero ganun pa man, tayo may papalagay dito sa alanganing GCQ. Next slide, please. Makikita po dito sa ulat na ito na ilan sa mga lalawigan ang sinampa ng MECQ. Next slide, please. Tapos dito po sa may ilang sa bandang norte hanggang sa south, at ganoon din sa probinsya ng Visayas, meron silang GCQ with heightened restrictions. Ano ba itong heightened restriction? Next slide, please. At ganoon din sa ibang lugar, gaya ng Baguio, sa norte, sa Isabela, Tarlac. Next slide, please. At mababasa dyan sa ilalim, sa dulo, na ang buong bansa ng Pilipinas ay magkakaroon daw under a modified GCQ. Ano ba talaga nga ito? Talaga bang totoo ba to o ano ba? At ito pa isa pang lumabas na ulat. Next slide, please. Sabi nga daw nila na itataas daw nila ang ban sa inbound travel at sinasabi nitong Octa Research na yun daw yung nakakaabala. Next slide, please. At ito yung mga ilan sa mga 10 mga bansa na pwede daw tayo magbukas ng galing sa India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia. Bakit itong mga bansa nito ang binuksan na tinanggal ng mga travel restrictions simula ngayong kahapon? Iyan kasi nga yung mga karamihan ng ating mga manggagawa na nagdaghahanap buhay sa lugar na yan. Dito siguro ang malaki nilang demand. Kaya nga hindi nila pwedeng pigilan ang pagbabiyahe sa mga lugar na ito. Next slide, please. Pero sinasabi nga ng Octa ay bagamat nakakabahala sa kanila, hindi daw sila pinopondohan ng mga private. Kasi nga marami nagtataka, ano ba talaga itong Octa at sino man ito nagmimiron? Kung di sila pinopondohan ng mga pribado o ng mga dayuhan, at ito ay talagang purely voluntary, kung totoo man hindi, kahit sino man pala pwede magmiron eh. Kaya nga ba't binibigyan ng puwang itong Octa na ito? Nakakasuya na tinatanong na nila, kung wala nga silang pondo, ano kapangyarihan nila na magbibigay sila, akala mo sila otoridad. Yung mga ganyan, dapat tinatagal na kaagad yan. Ewan ko nga ba't pipilit nga nila pakinggan ito lalo na yung Department of Health. Next slide, please. Isa pang pabala ay ang ating pamahalaan ay hindi nga tumutugon sa pagbibigay ng ayuda or tulong sa ating mga manggagawa sa kalusugan. At kung hindi nila may bibigay yun, baka magkaroon pa tayo ng panibagong krisis na malawakang pag-re-resign nitong ating mga health workers. Next slide, please. Ito nakakalungkot na malaman natin. Isa sa mga general ay dumagdag na po na nasawi ng kanyang buhay dahil nga dito sa COVID-19. Siya po ay, next slide please. Siya po ay si Brigadier General Bagnus Gerline, Assistant Commander of the 1st Infantry Division na nasawi nitong nakaraang Lunes. At saka ayon dito kay Major General Ernesto Torres, ang Army Chapter President of PMA Class 89. Next slide please. Ayon kay Major General Torres, si Gerlan ay pang-apat na kanilang miyembro na nawala na dahil nga sa COVID-19. Katulad ni June Unson, ni Danny Olay at sila Alan Cordoba. Siguro may mga rango mga general na ito o di kaya mga full colonel na ito bago sila na-promote. Pero tiyak, kung magka-batch ito ay nasa ganung rango na sila. So marami sa ating mga matataas na ating mga naglilingkod sa ating Armed Force Philippines ay nawala na dahil nga sa COVID. Next slide please. Ito pa ang nagpapabigay ng EPAL. Samantalang pinagtitigil nga nitong si Mr. Pogi Boy, si Mayor Isko, na wag na daw, imbis na bumili daw ng face shield, ay bumili daw Remdesivir at Tocilizumab. Hindi ba niya binabasa sa internet na itong Remdesivir ay nakakapatay? Hindi nga nagkakaligtas. Dapat nga, ivermectin na lang dapat ang kanilang pinatutupad at mas mura na, abot kaya pa, at tiyak, subok pa ito. Pero itong nagpapa-EPAL ito, pero akala mo kung sinong sikat at ayaw na daw niya mga face shield. Pero kapalit naman ito, bibili ng napakamahal na Remdesivir at Tocilizumab. Pero dito naman sa ating sa ibang dako ng daigdig, ang Brazil ay pinatigil ang pagdalaganap ng 12 milyong Sinovac shots. No, ito yung bago lang ito nung ika-5 ng Setyembre dahil nga meron silang nakikitang hindi kanais-nais at ay titigil na nga nila dito ang emergency use authorization dito sa nabanggit na bakuna. Next slide please. Alam po natin sa Japan ay sinuspindi ang pagkakalat ng Moderna dahil nga may mga stainless steel na nahanap sa loob nito. Please. Ganun pa man, sinasabi ng Moderna na huwag daw ikakabahala, ito daw stainless, ano ba naman, ba't di kayo ikakabahala? Nakita na nga, may laman na nga stainless steel, tapos no safety issue, para ka nagturok ng ng bakal sa lutong katawan mo, at huwag ka mag-aabala mas matindi pa siguro bala na dumarating sa iyo. Next slide please. Isa pang nakakainis na sinasabi nga dito yung pagkahalo ng mga bakuna. Sabi nga dito yung mga gusto daw mag-boost ay tumatawid na sa mga tamang guhit na dapat bagamat marami ng mga autoimmune disorders huwag na nila napupunahin yan at maski baluktutin nila pagtutupad nito, isulong na lang. Biro mo, ganyan ang klase mga panukala meron tayo dito sa buong daigdig, hindi lang sa ating bansang Pilipinas kundi sa buong daigdig. Ngayon po, sa araw na ito, ay makakapanayan po natin ang isa sa mga tanyag na representative ng dating representative ng Philippine Navy na siya po isang biochem warfare expert. Walang iba po kung hindi, pakikilala na po natin siya para makapanayan natin po natin para bigyan na natin malaman kung ano ba talaga ang sapat na protocol patungkol dito sa GCQ. At ipapasta po natin walang iba kundi si Commander Lay Ordenes. Pasok po, Commander Lay. Pakilala niyo po sarili niyo sa tsaka paka-turn off yung po kayo.
Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. Magandang gabi po, sir. Ako po si Lysander Aguilar Ordenes. Ako po, yes sir. I belong with PMA class of 1988 and I joined the Philippine Navy, particularly with the Philippine Naval Special Warfare Group before. Ngayon po tawag sa kanya is Naval Special Operations Command. In 1997 po, ako po ay pinili ng ating Philippine Navy. Kasama po dito yung Armed Forces of the Philippines at yung United States Navy through the United States Department of Defense, DOD, State and the State Department. Pinag-aral po ako sa Amerika ng 2 taon. So from 1997 to 1998, Ako po ay nasa 3 states. Ako po ay nasa Texas sa isang military base doon. And then ang follow-on training po ay dinala po ako sa Lackland Air Force Base sa Fort Walton sa Florida. And then yung last part po is dinala po ako sa Indian Head, Maryland, malapit po sa US Naval Academy, and sa Walter Reed sa Bethesda Medical Hospital po ng US Navy. So pinag-aral po nila ako in different aspects of the United States Naval School Explosive Ordnance Disposal, and isa lang po ako na Pilipino. The rest will be coming from 15 allied countries and more than 100 American troops. Ang gumraduate po sa amin, 30 lang kami after 2 years. So, pinag-aralan ko po doon, aside from the explosives and nuclear and biological and chemical mitigations po. Dito po ay ang kasanayan po dito, ano po ito yung biological warfare. So it's about bacteria, it's about viruses, it's about chemical agents, and what to do if there is such an event happening in one place of the world. After the training po, bumalik po ako dito sa Pilipinas and I set up the school diyan po sa Philippine Fleet sa Sangley Point, Cavite. And when I complied with my 21 years of service, ako po ay naging overseas Filipino worker. Naging teacher na po ako sa New York, sa California, sa Florida, sa Bahamas, sa Bermuda, sa British Virgin Islands, and then sa Little Rock, Arkansas, and then ang last po ay sa Kigali, Rwanda. Sa bawat lugar po na napuntahan ko, almost every year po, every season, may nangyayaring diseases or epidemics, and some of them became pandemics, like HIV. Another disease will be yung pong SARS-CoV-1. SARS-CoV-1 po, tinamaan ako niyan. I was in Africa. I survived. 5 days lang po ang mitigation dyan kung tama po yung ginagawa at kung alam po yung ginagawa. And I was also in Africa during the onslaught of Ebola. So, Ebola, kung tama po yung ginagawa ng gobyerno, hindi po mapapahamak yung isang bansa dahil hindi po papasok inside the borders ng isang country any kind of diseases. Basta tama po yung ginagawa ng medical group ng isang bansa. At ito pong sa latest na ito, ang aking pong family nakatira po sa Kigali, Rwanda. So, nung pumasok po itong SARS-CoV-2, I still refer to it as SARS-CoV-2 because that's what it is. It's SARS-CoV-2 and then they call it COVID-19. And that's the virus. During that time po, during the SEA Games, I have a job, and hindi ko na lang po sabihin kung saan po ako nagwo-work, but it's an exclusive resort on the Pacific side of the Philippines. And I was conferring with my friends in the United States Navy, in the US, in the British Virgin Islands. Ito po yung mga medical team na nakasama ko most of them are foreigners. And we talk about these diseases like, what can we do or what should we do if something like this happens where we are? So what can we do? Because that's what we've been trained for. And then I was watching the SEA Games that was, I think, started October and then November. But we've been hearing already about there is something happening in China, in Hubei, in Wuhan. So we were watching this because this is our job. Ito po yung trabaho namin From a former military officer doing biological warfare, chemical mitigations. Now, I'm a civilian, but doing health, safety, and security mitigation jobs in the private sector. So we were watching it. So I said, I think we should prepare for this. And that was November. And then by December, I said, hindi tayo dapat hindi tayo dapat mag-Christmas break, New Year's break, kasi this will this will implode in our faces. Actually, December pa lang po, gumagamit na kami ng ano. I told my guys, start using your thermal scanners. And then I was observing the news. Bakit dito sa airport natin sa NAIA, sa Clark, sa Cebu, sa Davao, why are they not setting up their medical stations, their scanners? Why are they not doing that? And sabi sa akin, kasi wala pang utos ng gobyerno. So that's the answer. Okay. Well, because they don't know what to do. They have no advanced idea what's going on. Sino nga po naman sa Pilipinas ang may experience na sa isang pandemic? I think nobody. So I started reaching out to people that I know as early as of January 2020. Kasi nag-celebrate na tayo ng December, nag-celebrate na tayo ng Christmas 2019. And then January 2020, I was expecting people to start closing down the borders, sea, air, and land. Pero ito po ang disadvantage pag wala na sa service. Nobody listens to a person who is outside the service already. Ang nakukuha ko po mga reaction is one, they are amused. Two, and I heard this from a former an upper class from the academy. Sabi niya, overacting ka lang. You are overacting. And then pinagalitan ako. Kasi ang sabi sa akin, you are causing fear among the guests and the staff of the company. Okay. And then they started doing this national morning, afternoon, and evening news. And I'm fond of watching the news. And then by February, I heard someone say, public official say, ang tanong niya po ganito alam niyo po ba kung ilan ng COVID cases sa Pilipinas? Sabi niya, 0. And then I said, this is something is going down. Something is going down. So the next day, the same person came back and said there's about 3 or 10 cases already in the Philippines. So tama yung aking assessment. And now we are in this situation.
Sir, may tatanong lang po ako.
RJ.
May tatanong lang po ako sa inyo, Commander Lay, no? Di po ba sa loob ng sandatang lakas ng Pilipinas, meron din pong katulad nyo na nasa serbisyo pa na may kaalaman din sa biochemical warfare?
Yes.
Okay. So, siyempre, sila yung mga eksperto, sila yung mga nakapag-aral, dalubhasa dyan. Dapat sana sila ay sumulat agad sa ating pamunuan, no? Sa ating pamahalaan para naagapan katulad ng inyong ginawang pagsusuri dito sa SARS-CoV-2 na ito. Dahil nga walang nagawa o walang ginawa, iba yung focus ng ating gobyerno. Ano po masasabi niyo doon?
Well, they have this they have the chain of command. They have the chain of command, and if the chain of command does not tell them to do this or do that, then they will not do anything. I was expecting them to be out already, like what they did in Korea or in Singapore.
Yes.
I saw them did it on the streets. They started decontamination, disinfecting. I think March, a week after the first lockdown, and March 15, I remember that because I watched everything. I saw the generals, and these were my classmates behind the back of the president. And sabi ko, iba dating nito Kasi I was expecting them like what we did in Rwanda. I was expecting doctors, nurses, virologists, and epidemiologists with the president on that declaration. That's what I was expecting because that's what we did overseas. But I didn't see that. So itong CBRNE ng armed forces, like they have that in the army, they have that in the Navy. I know I'm not sure about the Philippine National Police or the Air Force, but we have that in the Navy and Army. I even talked to General Gapay. Sabi ko, I'm offering my services to you guys. If you need me, I'm just here, but this is what I will do. So I was waiting for them to call me. I was already in Manila. I flew out of that resort, island resort, and I was already in Manila. Over and over and over, I was telling these generals, because I know them, and I know who comprises the IATF. Over and over again, I told them, this is via a phone app. I was talking to them. I was talking to SND, Secretary of National Defense. I was talking to Secretary Galvez in February until March. Sabi ko, sir, itap nyo ako kasi I can help you. Sabi ko, sir, pro bono. And then I wrote an email to DOH. Let me be a contact tracer. I got my own car. I got my own map here. I don't use the term PPE. PPE is personal protective equipment. In the military, I got my own suit. It's called the map gear. It's a military prepared posture. Mission-oriented preparedness posture. It's our uniform when we are dealing with viral events or chemical attacks. Ito yung naka-full hood ka. But they did not invite me over. I had to force myself to visit them physically. But walang follow through. Walang follow through talaga. So I said, I think I need to go back to the communities, to the barangay, and do what I need to do. So I asked one of my classmates, Southern Luzon Command, can you please give me a movement clearance so I can move to the barangays and teach people what to do so they don't catch the disease. Kasi you don't have a vaccine, you don't have a prophylaxis. So without the prophylaxis or without the vaccine, the best thing to do is to do the basic protocols. And you don't have to spend a single centavo to do these basic protocols, and people will surely survive.
Commander Lay, sample
Yes,
nga,
sir.
ano ba yung basic protocol na sinasabi mo? Just give us a list, a rundown.
Yes, sir. Number one, immediately close all your borders. That's immediate. That's where you put your police and military, on the borders. So where are the borders of the Philippines? Sa Rwanda kasi landlocked so nandun lang sila sa perimeter. Pero sa Pilipinas, ang borders natin will be the airport, will be the seaports, will be the smaller municipal ports. This will be your in-between provinces. These are your inter-province borders. You have to lock it down, which means I'm using the word quarantine. I don't use lockdowns. Lockdowns, we use that for prisons. I use quarantine because that's a medical event. A pandemic is a medical health event. Everybody should think of that in the first place. That should have been the mindset in the first place. On March 15 and even during the coordinating conference in February, they should have used the term quarantine. I don't use lockdown. Lockdown means different to me. As a pandemic medicator, I will use quarantine. It's a medical public health event. That's it.
At the very least, what you're saying is that, Commander Lay, is that at least the main entry points of our country, all the airports from which foreigners can come in,
Yes, sir.
should have been
Yes.
taken over by
Yes.
the military. Even if we did not yet have the necessary equipment
Yes.
to do whatever, like fumigation and so on and so forth. I want to go back, Commander Lee, to your first. I want to know, what is your suspicion why these people in government, the Secretary of National Defense, you've talked to them, the Department of Health, You've talked to the Secretary of Health and the people in the IATF. You've talked to them. What do you think is the reason why they ignored you?
Well, sir, they don't want anybody with the best knowledge of the pandemic and a real sense of the world experience with the pandemic to be on board on their group.
Why?
Because they are doing something else.
Okay, so you suspect that they do not really want to solve the situation, and that they were more intent in allowing the problem to be promoted. Yung ba yun?
Yes, sir. It's a combination of those things that you said. And another thing that I saw and gut feeling ko, sir, is I think they have an agenda already. Perhaps with another country with whom they have interests, or with a group, or it could be political. It's a combination of all these things, sir. But like what I said earlier, if I were in charge, I would have it managed as a medical public health event emergency.
Okay, yeah,
That's it.
I can see that there can be some different moves that we would have done if there was somebody else instead of these people. No, I just want to go back. You are one of the areas that you trained in, but you seem to be the only Filipino that was trained in these several areas in the United States, no?
Yes, sir.
And after you, nobody else went there to train after you.
I have no knowledge, sir. And also, sir, the difference will be is I live in continents and in countries where we had actual epidemics and pandemics that we fight on a yearly basis.
No, that's right.
I didn't Google this, sir. It's not a Google-based experience. It's an actual life experience and journey.
My mind is just like this. That if it is a program by the United States and they're inviting members of the military to go there, I would think that this is something recurrent. Na they invite you, and then after you would be another, and then so by the time maybe in a few years you would have some sort of a unit that has been trained in the same way and are able to function more instead of alone. Maybe as a unit, as a special unit in the armed forces. Pero wala tayong ganyan. It seems that ikaw lang yung nabigyan nito.
Actually, sir, I set up a school in Sangley Point, and I also taught biological chemical warfare. So I asked my students, because they're now in charge of the Navy, but hindi kayo nag-organize?
No, yeah. I'm asking you the same thing. If it was you that was the original, and you went to Sangley and taught your students, why didn't you form your students into a sector and that some sort of a special unit that can address these things just in case it happened? Apparently, it didn't happen. No,
sir.
You don't have to answer it now kasi tapos na. But the other one is, do you think this COVID-19 was a bioweapon?
It's highly possible, sir.
No,
it's highly possible, sir. It's yeah.
Well, it seems, Colonel Lake, based on the interviews and hearings in the United States of Anthony Fauci, as he was confronted by Senator Jordan and Rand Paul in their hearings, he actually admitted that this initial activities of creating a bioweapon was started in the United States. And then the Department of the DIH, I'm not sure exactly what that stands for, told them that this could not be done in the United States because it was being done in a Harvard health facility or laboratory. And they transferred it to China in Wuhan. No? And this was as a statement of fact. No. Now, and then from Wuhan is supposedly where it started to blow up, whatever it is that they were making. No. Now, if you think there is a possibility that it was a bioweapon, was the release of this so-called bioweapon, if it was a bioweapon, was it done on, do you think it was done on purpose or was it accidental?
I'm leaning more, sir, na it was done on purpose and not accidental. Yeah.
So, assuming, of course, we're all these things are not proven, we're just giving our professional opinion, no?
Yes.
If it was done on purpose, that means they wanted this to be worldwide.
True, sir.
Okay. If it was supposed to be done worldwide, as you know, even without the necessary vaccines or masks or whatever, the statistics around the world show that the mortality rate of all of those who have been infected is 2% or less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Example, the most number of infected now is in the United States, and they have a mortality, they have a infected rate of 40 million already, but a mortality rate of 646,000. My computation is this is about 1.6, 1.7 percent. No. Now, do you think if it was a bioweapon, first of all, it does not seem to be killing as many people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So why will you release a bioweapon that only kills less than 2%?
Because this is a trial. This is not the primary.
But
yeah, this is a trial.
Yeah.
Introduction.
Commander Lay.
Kumbaga, sir, testing lang ito.
Oo nga. Let me go through that. Assuming it is testing pero ginawang worldwide. I would say testing will be limited to a certain area. Pero worldwide, iba yun eh. No, I'm just I'm just trying to push a certain line of thought. No, if it is a bioweapon, no, was the weapon the disease which was manufactured according to Fauci, they manufactured the disease, no? Which is, by the way, it's patented, no? So you know that it is manufactured.
Yeah.
Is the disease the weapon, or what they used to presupposedly stop the disease the weapon?
I can see it, sir, in different forms and manner. One, the original thing that came out from the lab, if it did come out from the lab, that was spread through the movement of people. That's one item of the package, because in EOD we were taught that you have like different components. You have an initiator, you have a booster, and you have the main charge. These three will be functioning individually, but you have to combine all these three components to optimize your result. So you have an initiator like the one that came out from China, and it's spread out dito po sa Pilipinas. And I was telling this to some friends that I know very close to me. Sabi ko, who are inspecting the Chinese community in the Philippines? How do we know that they are not part of it? Like, have you heard of any Chinese citizen who might be doubling up as a intelligence officer, military officer,
Let me
with the
go back,
package
because-
on him?
Yeah. No, but this is Commander. I'm just that is moving a little.
Yeah, it's
A little,
just a hypothesis, sir.
Purely on speculation, yan. I'm
True,
just
sir.
going on these things because this is what has been told. No, we never the China and the United States and World Health Organization and CDC have never been able to identify the original, because there is always a first one that gets the disease.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Patient X.
They never have been able to identify that. And
Opo.
as a matter of fact, World Health Organization even went to the extent of saying that the original was not coming from China, that it was brought to China. That is what World Health Organization. Now, I'm just telling you what these guys are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I got a little, because I said, is the disease the weapon or something else to cure the disease? And what I meant was, is the vaccine the real weapon? Because if only 2% is used, is the experience of the disease, and yet, if you vaccinate these people, you might increase that into maybe multiples of 2%. Why? They might not die immediately, but according to those people that have been writing their thesis, and mga doctors and mga Nobel laureates, and they're saying, if you get vaccinated, your lifespan will be limited to the next 2 or 3 years maximum. Of course, we cannot wait until 3 years. But if so far they have vaccinated, I don't know how many billion people, let's say what, 1 billion, 2 billion people vaccinated, does that mean that the lifespan of these 2 billion people will be limited to 2 to 3 years? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
Sir, it depends, sir, sa efficacy ng what was injected into humans.
It
will depend on the efficacy, sir.
Is the weapon the vaccine? That's what I'm asking. Can the vaccine be the weapon and not the disease itself? Bioweapon. I'm talking about the bioweapon.
Yes, sir. That's that could be a possibility. But if it is a smoke screen, by an organization such as the United Nations or the World Health Organization, then they will always say that that the vaccine is supposed to heal people. So, sir, it's on the mindset of who is giving the story or speaking about a certain item like the vaccine. And my question is about the vaccine is what could have been done about the vaccine is tell us what are the contents of the vaccines before they inject that on people. I've been asking that for a long time. I want to know what's the recipe of the vaccine so I can say freely if it's safe or unsafe. Yun sir ang hinihingi ko eh. Wala pa sumasagot sa akin hanggang ngayon eh. So that's a $1 million question, sir.
Commander Lay.
Yes, sir.
In other countries, when you encounter such type of epidemic or pandemic, what is the normal procedure when you start scaling it up? Of course, you have to investigate the origin, yung ground zero. And then from there, you determine ano yung mga possible cure or possible prevention. And then third, siguro, you start looking into the availability and efficacy of the vaccines. Is there a certain process that they've been trained to go through and coordinate with different agencies, be it national or international?
Yes, sir. Exactly. I call it the rules of three. 3 months before, sir, it implodes or explodes. We already investigate the area. We go there, like what happened with Ebola, and that's a hemorrhagic activity, and it's airborne. It's even deadlier than. Mas takot ako sa Ebola, sir, kaysa dito sa COVID. Ang Ebola, sir, from the Congo River, we heard or we got a report from resident from Congo near the river that a certain person was sick or a child was sick. So we had to go there and investigate. So Rwanda and the Republic of Congo, they do have a diplomatic relationship. I'm a Filipino residing in Rwanda. I had to coordinate through the Ministry of Defense, and then I had to arrange for my visa going to Congo. So we just drive my 4x4 with the team. So the team is composed of doctors. You got epidemiologists, virologists, you got internists, and then we got microbiologists, and then you have non-doctors like myself. I'm a non-doctor, but I provide force protection, and I'm the one trained with the biological mitigation. And then we have to carry weapons because the roads in Africa are not safe, and you have militia there and terrorist groups. So upon reaching that place, what we do, it's like a crime scene, sir. You go to a village, it's pre-coordinated with the chief. It's called an umudugudu. It's like your barangay captain. I will be including some Kinyarwanda Swahili words, sir. So you can learn some new words tonight. So we talk to the umudugudu. And before we enter the village, there are certain procedures to go there. And then we do the job. So we cordon the area. The people know what's going on, sir. So the hut of the sick person or the sick baby or the sick child is definitely the ground zero. So we take samples from there. The doctors do that. And on the spot, they do their microscopic work. And then the test kits are already there. So we are like a mini hospital in 4x4s na puti. Because the white is the universal color of cars in Africa. So we do the laboratory work there, and then the doctors make a decision, and this is it. So these are their findings. Emails are sent immediately. The samples are sent back immediately. Go back to the city, and then it flies out to the nearest modern hospital in the area. That could be in South Africa, or it's flown out to Europe, to Belgium or the Netherlands, or direct to the United States. All of us carry a laptop or a device. We do our homework. So while the doctors are doing the laboratory work, those biologic pandemic mitigators like myself, we start doing the interview of the area, and then we set up perimeters, and we make computations. So what's the extent of this? It will explode, or if it will disperse into the community. What is your safe distance? Sir, we don't use the word social distancing. I don't use that. We call it either safe or unsafe distance. What's the safe distance? Is the safe distance between people 2 meters? Is the safe distance between one hut to another hut 5 meters or 10 meters? How about the next community? Is it 5 kilometers safe distance radius? So that's how we think, and now we give this information. We give this information to the medical team, and then we all make a decision. And then the person who's authorized to speak about it is the doctors.
All right.
Only the doctors.
Right. That's interesting that you noted that Ebola is more lethal than
Yes.
this SARS-CoV-2.
Yes.
And you were able still to contain it and isolate it, that even did not cause a widespread pandemic. Now,
Yes, sir. And we were not
SARS
even vaccinated, sir. We didn't get any shots because we were following basic protocols, and it applies to any disease.
So what was the success story? How come it did not spread, unlike what's happening right now with the SARS-CoV-2?
Well, sir, because when we do quarantines, and we recommend that, that's being sent to the different ministries of health of each country, like the Ministry of Health of Rwanda, Ministry of Health of Uganda, Ministry of Health of Congo, Tanzania, Burundi, Kenya. The purpose of the quarantine is like this. Nobody goes in, nobody gets out. And that's 2 weeks or 15 days. Nobody gets in, nobody gets out. And tanong, paano yung mga tao? There's an announcement made. You have 72 hours to buy your food. If you don't have money, we provide you food. If you don't have drinking water, we provide you water. Nasaan po yung mga pulis tsaka sundalo? They're at the borders. Paano yung sa community, sa barangay, doon sa Umudugudu, sa village? Nakaset up na po, sir, sa football field kasi almost every municipality or district sa Africa, there's a big football field, the stad. We call it the stadium. Sa football field, sir, nakahilera na lahat ng pagkain. A 60-kilo bag of rice, a 60-kilo bag of beans, 60-kilo bag of corn. That's for one family. And then you have the milk, powdered milk. You got soap, you got alcohol. It's good for 15 days. Sila pipick up nun, sir, bibit-bitin nila. And they go home and they stay there. Nobody goes in, nobody goes out. And this is the announcement made. It's on a megaphone, sir, and the Umudugudu or the community health workers, and they are all wearing white and PPEs. They make announcement. If you don't feel well, you feel sick, you can call us on this number. It's a national WhatsApp number. It's a national toll-free number. It's a national Viber number. It's even a Facebook thing. You tell us, and the health worker or the doctor is just at the corner. And we will drive an ambulance to you. You ride that ambulance, will take you to the nearest district hospital or the national hospital or a referral hospital. And it's free.
Okay.
You will be tested, it's free. You will stay in the hospital, it's free. And you will go home after the treatment period.
Okay, with all those quarantine measures, like you said, Ebola is more lethal than SARS-CoV-2. With all those types of measures that you conducted, even with the interagency and the inter-country, how long did it take the entire workforce or a task force to contain the spread of Ebola? Did it take over a year, or was it settled?
No, sir. Like what I said, sir, there's a rules of 3. 3 months before, sir, the lockdown, we start planning already. 3 months before, sir, and this is my notes from Africa. I made this. 3 months before, sir, we already talk among ourselves, so we have these meetings. sa face-to-face meet. Ang naiba lang doon, sir, kasi international group kami. Ang hinihintay ko rito, sir, they invite people from the CDC of other countries. It never happened. Kasi if they invited them, then I'll be in the group on board IATF sana. But they never did invite anybody. So, ang mangyayari dyan, sir, they do a meeting, they discuss what's happening, put it on the whiteboard, write it, what's your input? Okay, pandemic mitigator, what's your input? Medical team, what's your input? Epidemiologist, what's your input? Virologist, what's your input? Vaccine expert, what's your input? So then we come up with a plan. And then we call that's when the declaration is made by the president of the country, like the president of Rwanda, General Paul Kagame. Okay, then we call for the national meeting. There's a national committee. The national committee talks to Parliament, talks to Congress, talks to the senators. And this is what we need. This is what we need. That's 3 months before, sir. This is what we need. And I asked the same question here. Sir, where's our national inventory? I asked Secretary Lord, sir, meron ba tayong national inventory ng PPE, ng alcohol, ng gloves, washing stations? Wala. So we don't have it. So that's 3 months before. Ito yung kagandahan, sir, ng mga praktisadong mga bansa. Tsaka may disiplina, tsaka walang lokohan na corruption.
Walang politika.
Oh, sir. Kasi they mean business. And something happened, sir. Sa Rwanda, the former Minister of Health is a woman, and she was asked direct question by the President Kagame, who is a 3-star general before in the army, before he became president. How many test kits do you have, Minister of Health? Sabi niya, enough. We got enough. Okay. Test everybody here in the parliament for COVID. Doon siya bumuwelta, sir. I'm sorry, sir, we don't have enough inventory. So, ang sabi ng presidente, and I was shocked. If you can lie to me, then you can lie to the people. You are fine. Right there and then, sir, sabi ko, that's leadership. That is leadership. Mahalaga talaga buhay ng tao dito. So, ang pumalit sa kanya, another doctor. Ito, sir, matinunan doktor ito. So, siya, hanggang ngayon, siya pa rin siya yung nag-receive, sir, ng mga vaccines. And he was asked a direct question sa airport. How much is AstraZeneca? $3.35 per dose. How much is Pfizer? $3.75. There's no NDA. Kaya nga dito siya nagugulat, ano yung NDA na yan? It's a medical health emergency. And you're sounding like a businessman. Doon ako, sir, nagugulat. Sabi ko, nasa Pilipinas na nga ako. Wala na ako sa overseas. So, after that announcement, sir, they are given the funds. Kasi yung funds, sir, come from 2 fronts. One is from the national funds, and the other one will be from the international community. I-activate nila, sir, yung regional Africa COVID committee. All the nearby countries. I was waiting for them to activate the ASEAN COVID committee. Then afterwards, saka pa lang nila activate yung joint task force and with identified people, all experts in their field. Ang pwede lang magsalita on TV, on newspaper, on social media about COVID will be 1, the president, 2, the prime minister, and last of all, the minister of health. That's it. Only 3 people. They don't have Octa research or anything. They don't have this panelists for... No, sir. 3 lang talaga. Kaya yung fake news hindi umiiral doon, sir. Plus, it's against the law. Automatic huli yan, sir. Hinahanap ng intelligence. Ang trabaho, sir, sa paramilitary tsaka police maghanap ng troll at ikulong sila outright. Yun ang ginagawa, sir, ng security force. They provide security in the borders. Nobody goes in, nobody goes out during the quarantine period. And then announcements are made. Food and drinks are provided. Immediate medical ambulance is provided. You go to the hospital, it's free. Usually, sir, ang treatment period, sir, mabilis eh. Mabilis sila na mag-treat. I already asked what they are giving. Kasi my sister-in-law is a nurse there. These are available items, sir. And you don't need millions of pesos to be treated kasi it was provided free by the government. Ang kakaibahan lang sa Pilipinas, sir, dito matatakot kang magpa-confine sa hospital kasi wala kang pera. Doon, sir, sa overseas, matatakot kang hindi magpa-hospital kasi you could die or things could get worse for you. But everything is paid for by government.
Interesting.
Commander,
Yes, sir.
sa assessment mo, kapag ito, nagtuloy-tuloy yung ganitong kalagayan, saan patungo ang bansa hanggang dumating ang Mayo 2022? Saan tayo papunta? Anong mga posibilidad na pwedeng maganap?
Good question, sir. I asked that a long time. 2 years ago, I asked the same question and I got my answer. Number one, sir, these lockdowns, the government will continue doing this. Two, what will happen, if people don't work, they don't eat, they don't have money, the economy collapses, businesses will close down. So it's an economic disaster. More people will get sick, more people will die. One, because the mindset of getting healed wasn't inculcated sa utak ng tao. Overseas, what I've seen from successful countries, number one, ang mindset nila, I need to get well and not get the disease. So if there's a lockdown for the 15 days, people follow it. And then afterwards, it's declared done and finished. The country that I was in, like Rwanda, we had a lockdown for 44 days and that's it. Kasi sir, the term quarantine came from the Latin or Italian word. It means quarant. Quarant means 40. In English, it's 40 days. We learned that from the Bible when Jesus Christ went to the wilderness and fasted, fight the demon for 40 days and 40 nights. That's how we did it in overseas. The same principle of healing in a Judeo-Christian setting. 40 days you need to finish this. If not, it's not working. Then you have to change your strategy because it doesn't work. Additional lockdowns don't work or additional quarantine won't work. You have to change strategy. One, you wear your face mask, your safe distance, and then you keep clean. Kasi we're not counting on the vaccine, sir. Because there's no vaccine coming in during the first part of that year, 2020. But immediately after, when they said that there are vaccines coming in, and the lockdown ended. So on lockdown, sir, sa Philippines, March 15. Lockdown in Africa, in Rwanda, March 17. So 2 days pagitan. But on May 25, they lifted the lockdown. And they ordered immediately their vaccines and the schools were restarted in September face-to-face. Tourism was reopened in June. All flights were open. Tourists started coming back, but they had to wear their face mask. Sir, wala po nagpe-face shield doon. The face shield is solely for the use of doctors, nurses, inside the hospital or health clinic. Yung vaccinators namin, sir, walang face shield. Naka-face mask lang sila when they do their vaccinations and PPE. Sir, wala nagpe-face shield doon because it does not help.
Interesting, Commander Lane. I just did a quick look at the statistics in Africa. Ang baba pala ng incidence sa entire continent of Africa, unlike in other countries. How come World Health Organization is not taking note of the best practice happening there in Africa? And then another question from one of our viewers. Tinatanong niya about the 5 generals na namatay. Did they die because of the vaccine?
Sir, they won't say, but they said they died of COVID.
Okay.
That was what told to us on social media, COVID, sir. Okay. And I don't even know if they were vaccinated or unvaccinated, but they died of, they got COVID. Comorbidities and as a result of COVID, sir.
Okay, with regards to Africa being a model continent, the entire continent for that matter, not just a few nation. Ang baba ng incidence ng infection and even deaths, even eating over 1,000, and considering the population is not a huge, why is it that the World Health Organization or even the International CDC or NIH are not taking note of the practices inside Africa?
Sir, because, sir, it's a slap to their faces, to the Western world, to the rich countries and to the developed countries. These are small countries with little resources. So a small country with little resources but big populations, what can they do? Number one, life is very important. One death is a tragedy. How much more a million? What is that? A massacre or a genocide? Kasi mahirap, sir, mamatayan, sir, ng isang African member of the family. Kasi these are all people working in the field, we are working in the factories, working in offices. Plus, the mindset is, I need to keep alive. And I can win over this virus. Because life is important to me.
Yeah.
It's a mindset, sir. Iba yung utak kasi nila, sir. Hindi pa, sir, nagde-declare ng quarantine ang thinking lagi, sir. Kasi nga, nag-uusap yung mga taga-village with the chieftain, yung umugudugudo nila. We need to survive this and we can survive this. Ganun, sir, ang usap lagi. Kasi, sir, nakikiupo kami dun, sir, eh. And then we pray. Sir, ang lakas ng Christianity, ng faith in prayer ng mga tao doon. And alam niyo naman, sir, pag sumasambay yung mga itim, di ba? Katakot-takot na kantahan, katakot-takot na awitan yan, panalangin, sabay-sabay. Kasi they just want to survive and they don't want this disease to have power over their lives. That's how they are as a people.
Yeah. Another thing, when a traveler goes to Africa, they require a yellow card, like a vaccine.
Yes, sir. I got that one, sir.
Why is it that's the practice? Is it because maraming mga kumakalat na diseases in that region?
Yes, sir. Historically, sir, medically, ang Africa kasi, sir, maraming diseases, especially malaria, yellow fever. So I mean, my family, we always carry it with us. And every year, sir, flu vaccine. You need to get that. Pagdating, sir, ng autumn, after June, July, August, by September, October, you need to get that flu shot. Libre yun, sir. Nagtatawag sila. Pupunta sila sa bahay nyo. Oh, you need the vaccine. You don't have a flu vaccine, flu shot. Okay, here's the flu shot. Tapos tatatakan nila, sir, yung yellow card. Dito.
Pero walang adverse effects. Walang adverse effects itong mga bakuna na ito. Unlike
sir, flu shots, wala po. Wala, sir. That's the offshoot, sir, of the 1918 Spanish flu, which didn't even start from Spain. It started in the United States, sa kampo ng military yung influenza, sir. It's still ongoing, sir, yung influenza. That's why they get the flu shots yearly.
Yeah.
And it's paid for by the government, sir. Sabi nga nila, for you. It means it's free. It's, ganun, sir.
Commander, yes, no? Kung halimbawa po na kayo ay aktibo pa sa sandatang lakas ng Pilipinas at nakikita nyo na ang gobyerno, ang mga kabinete, ang mga nagdidesisyon ukol dito sa public emergency na ito ay mali. Bilang taga-protekta ng sambayanan Pilipino, ano ang gagawin mo?
Fire them all. Fire all of them. Because they are killing people every day. They don't know what they're doing. That's the reality. For the past 2 years, they don't know. They don't have an idea what they're doing, and they are experimenting on our lives. That's really sad. And I'm actually, sir, I'm angry. I'm angry with what they are doing.
Commander Lay.
Yes, sir.
Your sentiments regarding the way these people are handling the COVID crisis, talagang masama. Siguro marami naman tayong talagang galit na galit dito eh, no? Dito sa sector nyo, from your in the military, you come from the Navy, no? Do you think the attitude and the character of our military will be such that they will be first as angry as you, and if they are as angry as you, what will they do? How will they show their disdain for the way things are going on? And how do they react if they see it exactly the way you do? Because we see it the way you do, that talagang pumapatay ng tao. And kanina, I was just saying that hindi lang yung vaccine, because we have always said here in KDP that the lockdowns as a result of the so-called virus, no, the lockdowns are killing more people than the COVID disease itself, because the lockdowns means the resulting hunger and starvation of many of our people who are daily wage workers. At pag wala silang trabaho, gaano katagal, magsesarado, sirado din ang mga negosyo, wala silang trabaho, at saan pupunta itong mga ito, no? Siyempre, gutom, and gutom results in other kinds of diseases, not even COVID, and they could be fatal. Anyway, like you, we see it as a very, very serious problem na pumapatay ng tao. At madalas namin hinihingi na ang militar natin magising, no? Kasi sa kanila na lang pwedeng humingi ng saklolo ang taong bayan, eh, no? Sa palagay mo ba ang militar pwedeng magising at maunawaan ng problema like you understand it?
I'm sorry, nakamute ho kayo. Commander Lay, nakamute ho kayo.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Ang military po natin, sir, nag-o-observe. Pinagmamasdan nila tayo na mga civilian kung ano ginagawa natin. Ang role po ngayon ng military at ng pulis ay nagbabantay, tagapagbantay. Tagapagbantay sa atin kung tayo ay nagfa-follow ng protocols, ng quarantine protocols or hindi, or ng lockdown protocols nila or hindi. Katulad nga po ng sinabi ko, yung military dun sa and police sa mga successful na countries, sa magagaling na COVID preparedness management sa ibang bansa, they are on the borders, making sure that if there is a quarantine, nobody gets in, nobody gets out. Now, ito pong mga different levels ng quarantine natin from different CQs, ay hindi ko po na-experience doon sa overseas. Dito lang talaga. It reminds me of the levels of red alert during the times na may mga kudita.
Yeah.
Merong white, may blue, may kung ano-anong colors or numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 ganon. Sabi ko kasi sabi ko nga if your lockdown is not working for the first 40 days, it won't happen in the next 550 days. Stop kidding yourself. Yeah.
Commander Lay, yung katanungan ko, yung militar natin, sabi mo, naghihintay o nag-o-observe.
Yes.
Kanina lang sabi mo, at tumasang-ayon kami, na itong sistema ng ating gobyerno ay pumapatay ng tao. Malawak ang pagpatay nito dahil nga itong mga lockdowns ng arawan na sweldo, maraming magugutom at magkakasakit at mamamatay. Ngayon, ito ba ay nakikita ng ating militar? Dahil ikaw nakikita mo no?
Opo.
Ikaw nakikita mo. Kung ikaw ba ay nasa militar pa rin, Commander, ano bang gagawin mo? Lalabas ka ba at tutulong sa mamamayan? O isa ka dun sa mga magbabantay ng mga lumalabag sa quarantine?
Opo. Katulad nga po ng sinabi ko, sir, ang mga sundalo natin at pulis nagbabantay, nag-oobserba sa atin. Pag nakita po nila na ang mga tao ay nahihirapan, at meron na rin po ako mga nakausap na mga kasamahan ko before, and they agree na ang mga taong bayan po ay nahihirapan dahil wala nang makain, wala nga nabuhay, at laging nasa loob ng kanilang tahanan, hindi pwedeng lumabas, pa iba-ibang mga estado ng lockdown dahil sa pandemya. Ang masasabi ko po is ganito, kung hindi na po tama ang ginagawa ng pamahalaan, ay kailangan po nating silang sabihan at sabihin sa kanila na hindi ito ang the way that we should be living in a pandemic. It's either you heal us, make us better, but you cannot continue locking us down in our houses, and then we got no money, we got no jobs, we got no food, and we are affected by meron na tayong mga mental health conditions, including the children. I think it's about time that our police, conscientious police and conscientious soldiers and officers, ask themselves the question, am I doing this for the benefit of the people and the Constitution they have sworn to uphold and protect? Or am I just doing this because I'm told to do so?
Okay. Meron pa yata tayong mga kasama rito, mga profesor at ka-commander, no? Na mga ibang mga wala lang sa monitor, no? Siguro bigyan natin ng pagkakataon mga pagsalita, Professor Toti, yung mga kasama natin.
Sige. Micaela Montanya, if you have any comments, magsalita na lang po kayo. I-unmute mo lang.
Hi, magandang gabi po.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Meron kayong tanong, Micaela?
Actually, wala naman po akong tanong. I'm watching the live ngayon, yung comments. Ang dami pong comments ngayon. So, medyo pinaprocess ko din po.
Okay. Sige.
Okay.
So, ako na lang magtatanong, mga professor at commander kay Micaela. Bill, ilang taon ka na?
I'm 27 years old. I'm actually a working student pa po.
Sige. Bilang kabataan, manggagawa at estudyante, ano ang dapat gawin, no? Ngayong mga panahon na ito at siguro sa gobyerno natin?
I think we should be responsible citizens by registering to vote for the next election. Yeah. And aside from that, I think sobrang okay naman po yung sinabi ni Commander Ordenes, no, na he shared the experience that they have in Rwanda and in Africa in general. So now our eyes are opened na parang there's a lot to learn from these countries and these governments and these sectors in a whole nother continent that people don't really look for with regards to like intelligence in terms of mitigating something this huge. Kasi, no offense, I'm not trying to look down on others, but that's what I heard from the conversation na parang the Western will look down on them. Why will they look for them for help? So, yeah.
Okay. Follow up lang kay Micaela. Kung sakali na lumuba yung kalagayan, halimbawa, wag naman sana. At hindi na natin abutin ang eleksyon. pero may biglang isang malaking insidente na nangyari. At ganito yung sitwasyon ng gobyerno natin na wala, palpak nga eh. Palpak nga doon sa mga matagal na panahon, no, na paghihintay natin dito sa mga sitwasyon na ito. Anong panawagan mo sa sandatang lakas ng Pilipinas, Micaela? Kung hindi na gumagalaw yung ating mga bilang kabataan, anong panawagan mo sa kanila?
I think for right now, what we can do is support those who are able, those who have the knowledge, and those who have the capability and skill. Because right now, kunyari po, what can I contribute to something this huge? I can contribute siguro my my voice to let others know that there are ways to go around this. Yeah.
Okay. Sige. Okay. Mabuhay ka. Mabuhay. Salamat.
Maraming salamat po.
Salamat. Sige.
Hey, Ruby and Kagawan, are you online?
Yes, hello, good evening.
Gandang gabi po.
Gandang gabi po.
RJ, you have a question?
Sige. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro. Sige. Okay, anong panawagan nyo sa ating pamahalaan? Mukhang tutulog-tulog sa pansitan ang pinagkakabala nila yung 42 billion na face shield, no? Di ba sabi nga ni Commander sa atin, hindi naman ubra yung mga face shield sayang lang ang pera dyan, di ba? So, anong mapapayo mo at siguro panawagan nga sa mga protektor ng ating saligang batas, partikular yung kapulisan at itong sandatang lakas ng Pilipinas. Go ahead.
Unang-una po, last year pa lang, I convened COVID cure research. 1.5 years na po lumilipas, wala pang ginagawa ang gobyerno natin. Tinatanong ko, why don't they act on the cure? This is a Philippine formulated novel drug formulation, not like anything else that has been formulated. And I convened the De La Salle University Medical and Health Sciences. You don't hear it anymore in the media. So it's been a year, but it's still ongoing. But they're sitting on it. The government is sitting on it. The other part of the project is the UP Manila College of Pharmacy, so they're the ones doing the formulation study. And De La Salle University Dasmariñas, the Health Science Institute there, submitted the proposal in November last year. And it was discussed by the DOST, PCHRD on December 2. I made a follow-up on what's their decision in January, and they said they were waiting for a commercial taker. So at the back of my mind, why commercial taker right away? First, let's study this, right? And the study will entail, aside from the formulation, it will be in vivo, in vitro, right? And then we can use it as a cure. So as of April, they said they have launched the study. When you say study, it's the formulation study, and that it should be concluded by the end of this year, 2021. So nasa September na po tayo. The last I heard from it was from the medical doctor saying that they have concerns about the efficacy, or I'm sorry, about the safety of one component. So that's fine. Of course, we want it safe and effective. But what is taking them so long? If we look at Israel, ang bilis nilang mag-develop ng cure. They have already had a number of cure possibilities. The difference between a cure and a vaccine is, yung vaccine, they want a lot of people to be vaccinated with the target of simula nung 60, naging 70, 80, 90% na ngayon ang target. So, mas malaking pera behind the people who get money from this. Whereas the cure is just for the sick. So I've been pushing for a cure. So ang masakit po dito is, and this is effective for sure, but of course we just have to prove it. And one of the components has already been studied abroad. So it becomes a novel formulation because it's a combination drug. Okay, and the particular drug that we chose can be applied to a whole range from asymptomatic to mild to severe. Magagaling po ang ating mga doktor. Meron tayong mga doktor, pero hindi po kami yung tulad ng iba na very upfront sa media. Maybe you should try to get in touch with them po. Medyo siguro we are the shy type, no? We work behind the scenes. In fact, Commander Lay Ordenes was asking me, to go up front, and I said, I'm more confident behind the scenes. I move people behind the scenes. That's why I'm able to convene. So, but I think we really need to go out there already and say the country has a cure, which will not just help the Philippines, but the whole world. It will be our singular contribution to humanity. Why are we not acting on it? Why is our government sitting on it? And sir, the proposed cost is just 12 million pesos. 12 million compared to 67 billion that the DOH cannot account for, aside from other billions of pesos that they have just, irresponsibly not accounted for. What is 12 million that the doctors are asking for so that they can conduct the in vivo and in vitro trials? Especially now that we have the Delta variant, because we of course we need a number of sick people to apply it to for the in vivo trials, right? So this is the time we can help. So the Philippines has had it in our hands since last year, but they're not moving. And I can only do so much. I really need to engage the rest of the people. If the CDCPH would know this, that we have had a cure sitting, and this is not the one that's being, there were false claims last year from a certain group of people. I did my investigation on them. So they were making social media noises before, if you noticed, and then suddenly they stopped because I did my investigation on them. Okay, so they're making false claims. This is a totally new formulation, sir. So if you can connect me to the doctors so that they can help, I'm just a singular voice here, and I'm doing my best to push. But just like Commander Lay, hindi kami pinapakinggan. Commander Lay had a mitigation program, and since mid of March last year, I already was pursuing a cure, even though it sounded laughable. Parang, ano ito, di ba? And I was even saying na we would just be in the bottom rung of the vaccine rollout of the world. Diba? Bakit tayo naghihintay sa kanila when we could be at the forefront helping humanity? So now we know the answer. It's like a mafia. I wanted to make a comment there, and siguro uusigin ako sa pagsabi nito, but how the mafia works is they have legitimate activities like a pizza parlor or whatever, but behind the scenes they have drug deals and crime. So it's almost like the government is using legitimate activities from which they can dip their hands, into which they can dip their hands and plunder the nation. So I think I am not making any false accusation here because it's already being questioned by COA, all of these billions of pesos. But noon ko pa noon pa ako nagtatanong, bakit hindi nila pinupush ito? Dapat within, let's say, 6 months to 1 year. Tapos na dapat lahat ng clinical trials. So there are thousands of Filipinos that died needlessly, and perhaps if we could include the other nations, tens of thousands that could have been saved by this Filipino ingenuity, by this Filipino formulation. So I'm coming out in the open. This is the first time I'm speaking up. Maybe because we have this alternative media, and I think nararamdaman ko rin po yung the people are just waiting for a cue. I think that's what also Commander Lay is saying. The military is waiting for a cue, and a lot of people are waiting for a cue so that we can gather our forces a show of force, a show of Filipino force once more, to peacefully speak out and say, we don't need this kind of prolonged lockdown anymore. And let's look at other cures, especially cures that are affordable and cures that are even Philippine formulated. Yun lang po. Maraming salamat po for giving me this space.
Maraming salamat, Rubian. At hindi ka nag-iisa, you're not alone. Marami tayo.
Yeah, mabuhay ka.
Mabuhay.
Naku, mabuhay. Yan.
Kay
Meron
Levi
pa ba?
Ordenes.
Thank you, Miss Kagawan. Thank you po.
Kay Miss Levi
Thank you rin po.
Ordenes.
Thank you po. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you rin.
Huwag ka muna umalis.
Levi?
Sino pa?
Levi? Si Levi Ordenes, are you there?
Oo.
Or si
Si Genesis.
Genesis Merano, can you hear us? Yes, Genesis, your comments, please.
Go ahead, Genesis.
Genesis, kung anong pwede mo masasabi dito sa ating talakayan, kung anong maambag niyo po. Bukas na po ang linya para makapagsalita po kayo.
Baka naka-mute yung or kung hindi pa handa si Genesis, si Je Mercader Jr. Je? Anya ba si Je? Okay. Si Ma'am Levy.
Yes, good evening po.
Ay, magandang gabi po.
Magandang gabi po, Ma'am Levy. Sige po.
Yes po, I'm one of the sisters of Commander Lay Ordenes, and I've been listening. Nalulungkot lang ako, no? As a teacher, I'm an educator, and kami nahirapan na talaga kami sa DepEd to how we will be able to meet our students face-to-face. As a matter of fact po, this coming Monday is the opening of classes in the public schools, and until now po ay talagang hirap na yung DepEd, and our children are not getting the right right education that they should gain, because of this COVID. Napakatagal na po. It's really making us we are really trying to make our children talagang ma-educate, but because of this problem na nag-a-arise ngayon ay affected na po talaga ang educational system. Iyon po.
Ma'am, taga saan po kayo, Ma'am Lev?
From Tondo po ako.
Saan?
I'm from Tondo, Manila.
Sa Tondo.
Yes,
Ilan
sir.
ang mga estudyante ninyo at ano ba ang naging resulta sa pagtuturo nyo sa ganitong paraan?
Actually po, in our place, opo, kasi malapit ang school na tinuturuan ko sa Smoky Mountain. And ang mga bata namin doon ay most of them ay talagang nandun sila sa, merong below the poverty line, nandun sila sa poverty line, at meron din naman doon sa middle class. Siyempre po, naka-online classes kami, and actually our problem really is ang internet talaga.
Yeah.
Internet talaga ang kailangan, because most of our students na nakatira doon sa remote place sa Tondo po ay wala naman mga gadget na they can use. Although, ang LGU po namin, si Mayor Isko Moreno ay nagbigay naman ng mga, hindi naman actually binigay. It's just pinahiram po sa mga kabataan natin para they can make use of it. Pati yung SIM card, binibigyan sila monthly. Pero some of our students really left na talaga. They left, nag-drop na po yung mga ibang bata. Pinayagan ng parents kasi hindi makasurvive, hindi kaya makasabay sa online classes.
Ito ba'y nakakarating sa mga naupo?
That is talagang sa amin talaga, it's very saddening. And then ito na po, kung halimbawa naman pong sa province, kung gagamitin namin yung modules, delikado naman po, it will be unsafe for the teachers kasi po mangyayari, ma-expose po kami sa maraming tao, and not all the people in Tondo are already vaccinated. Hindi po talaga lahat. Kukunti pa lang po talaga yung vaccinated. So kung ma-expose po kami doon, at risk na po yung lives namin po. Yun po.
Okay. Nakakarating ko ba ito sa mga naukulan sa inyong distrito o ganun kaya sa rehiyon? Yung mga kakulangan ng ating
Yes, sir. Opo. Kasi once in a while naman po, we are being asked kung ano ang mga, ano ang aming mga comments, ano yung mga nagiging situation ng mga bata, or ano yung aming nagiging experiences with our pupils, with our learners.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Maraming salamat po at siguro
Yes, thank you rin po. Good evening.
Good evening din po, no? At dito na po siguro natin na wawakasin ito. Pero gusto na siguro in normal practice namin, binabasa po namin yung mga komento na nagtatangkilik dito sa programa. We'll call on our studio, Ver or Roxanne, kung pwede mong i-post yung mga komento ng ating mga taga-subaybay ng programa. Kung meron man, ano? Kung hindi, magpapaalam na tayo.
Okay, mukhang marami raw eh. Marami raw, Professor Toti. Marami
Sige.
raw mga...
Meron mo ba? Meron mo tayong mababasa?
Ber? And Ber? Rox? Siguro habang iniintay patugtugin muna natin yung dahil alam mo na napaka seryoso nung usapan natin eh. Pag kasi commander, biro mo, ano ba to? Biowarfare na pinag-uusapan natin eh. Ibang klase na. Ayan na po. Ayan na. Ayan.
Sige. Galing po kay Leia Esperalta. Isa pa yan si Yorme, sobrang epal din yan dito sa Manila. Galing po kay Dominic Borromeo. Ano ito? Bumanat na naman ang epalitikong si Iskolokoy, Sir Toti. Palibasa, nagpapango sa mga botante. Kemel Gomez Asibar, inamin na ng chairman ng OCTA kay Senator Gordon na they are not related or connected to UP. Sir Lay, just want to ask po, di ba ginagawa lamang ang barikada or bulwarkin sa mga entry point ng bansa kapag sure po na may kalaban talaga or mga banta sa isang tiyak na please. Isang tiyak na kaaway. Just want to ask, paano po ito magagawa sa bansa against COVID if according to the medical experts and the Filipino scientists that COVID virus itself has never been proven that it truly exists in our country. Okay? Would you care to react? Hindi na. Wilfredo Opiano, si Isko po ay masigasig po yan sa bakunahan dito sa Maynila. Meron din nga pong bakunado dito sa barangay namin, senior, namatay agad. Criminate. Naku. From Tihak di Malik, ang gobyerno ngayon ay puro demonyo. Legal ang syndicate ang style ng gobyerno. Ngayon, sila ang batas na ginagawa nila sa taong bayan. Sobra na ang negosyo nila sa COVID business. Mula po kay Edward Lopez. Good evening, Sir Butch, Sir RJ, Sir Toti, watching from Makati City. Mga sirs, ano po ang masasabi nyo dito sa gobyerno natin? Parang ginagago na tayo. Nakakapang-init na ng ulo yung mga gunggong na nasa gobyerno, lalo na itong si Mr. Kengkoy, na ito, yung okta nga, na yung pasabugin na natin yan. Mr. President, bumaba na kayo dyan sa pwesto nyo. Magsama na kayo ni Duque Monyo mga buwisit. From Angela Bolivar, deprived sa liberty, lahat na lang. From Crime Bastre, magandang gabi mga katipon. Mabuhay kayo, walang katapusan talaga yan. Kasi puro fuck you ang nagpap you na yan. Wala na ngang makain ang tao, ikukulong pa nila sa kanilang bahay. Di na nila malayang gumala at makahanap ng mga trabaho at dahil sa queue na yan, wala nang trabaho, mahanap ang bayan. Sa club talaga, watching from Thailand. From Simon Bolivar, Commander Lay Ordenes, iyon po bang mga namatay na sundalo at hospital ng Armed Forces at Air Force na nabanggit ninyo ay kulmanado or bakunado? Kulamado.
Kulam.
Okay. From Dorindo Mendez, good evening po from Quezon City.
Good evening.
From Orac C. MJ, good evening po. From Ricardo Limsey, Kawawang Isko, ang pinaghirapan niya mapunta lang sa wala. Duda ko rin baka sa kakasuporta sa kanya ng mga Chinese kung meron ha, at sa mga nauutong mga mayayaman. From Marizon Domingo Basa is watching. From Maria Retina Sarmiento, good evening po. Dapat kasuhan na yung gobyerno natin, sobrang napahirap sa masa. From Ernio Campo, magandang gabi po sa inyo, KDP. Mabuhay po kayo, KDP, sa inyo, Professor Butch, Valdes, Sir RJ Javellana, and Junior, and si Professor Toti Casiño. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas, mabuhay ang KDP, Kamao, mabuhay. From Anthony Olid, magandang gabi po, Sir Toti, Sir RJ, Sir Butch, at kay Sir Lay. Isang
Brigadier General
Gerla ng Zamboanga del Sur, naturukan, first dose, bakuna, at nagkalaon, nag-positive at namatay. From Manuel de los Santos, always watching from Nueva Ecija. From Kylie Rue, mabuti na lang may isang taga-militar na nasa circle man siya and to stretch out and to inform the public what's happening there. Noong linggo sa live na sinabi na marami palang kulamado sa mga militar and some of them are natigok na. And thanks to Commander Lay for sharing your testimony, and mabuhay po kayo. From Bear Shua, mga sir, gandang gawan ng lockdown version ang kanta ni Sharon Cuneta na sana'y wala nang wakas. Kasi ang lockdown.
Parinig mo muna yung Mr. Kenkoy. Baka hindi pa narinig mo na ba, Commander Lay, yung Mr. Kenkoy na music ng KDP? Ayan. Parinig muna natin. Nakikinig.
Lagi mong pinagtatakpan, kurap mong tauhan, sila na may sinungaling, mga piling magaling. Presidenteng puro daldal, walang takot sa may kapal. Kapag ika'y binatikos, bibig namin binubusalan. Bakit ka ganyan? Ilan po bang papaslangin? Lagi kang may hamon, bahag naman iyong buntot. Bakit mo niloloko sambayan ng Pilipino? Di mo naman masugpong adik, pati itong pandemic. Hoy, 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 Mr. Kenkoy, palasyo'y nangangamoy. Hoy, 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 Duterte Kenkoy, palasyo'y nangangamoy. Kenkoy. Nung ikaw ay humarap, maganda ang iyong pangako. Ngunit maraming nasa likod mo, ngayon ayaw na nila sa'yo. Ikaw ay nagpakita, asal na di maganda. Dapat mong malaman, pagod ng Pinoy. Hoy, 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 Mr. Kengkoy, palasyo'y nangangamoy. Hoy, 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 Duterte Kengkoy, palasyo'y nangangamoy. Kengkoy. Hoy, 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 Mr. Kengkoy, palasyo'y nangangamoy. Hoy, 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 Duterte Kengkoy, palasyo'y nangangamoy. Kengkoy. Hoy, 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 Mr. Kengkoy, palasyo'y nangangamoy. Hoy, 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 Duterte Kengkoy, palasyo'y nangangamoy. Kengkoy. Hoy, 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 Mr. Kengkoy, palasyo'y nangangamoy. Hoy, 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 Duterte Kengkoy.
Nice, nice. Okay ba, Commander? Ayos.
Approve.
Okay ba, Rubian and Ray? Okay, basa tayo uli. Wala pa si ano no? Okay. Anthony Olive, Mr. Lockdown for Mr. DJ. Yan. Natura Moller, mabuhay mga sir, watching from near in Frankfurt, Germany. Ayan, okay. Elma Villegas, mga sir, walang sawa na. ACQ, GCQ, barbecue, kung ano-ano pa. Klaseng Q ang gagawin nila. Para mga betchin lang ang mga tao watching from Quezon City. Ayan. Julie Paderanga, good evening po mga sirs. Ayan. Abigail Lacson, watching from Malolos, Bulacan. Ayan. Pabelonia Nib, God bless mga sir. God bless po. William Laguno, ayan, is also watching si William Laguno. Okay, yan. Ganda gabi mga sir. Ng Katipunan at sa lahat din po. Colonel Cordero, natatawa na lang ako. Kailan kaya matatauhan ng mga Sel Cordero, nung matatauhan ng mga tao. Ayan. Okay, meron pa kami isang kanta rito, Bully-Bully. Pag narinig nyo, matatawa rin kayo dyan sa Bully-Bully na kanta. Mula kay DJ Agustin, good evening po sa lahat ng mga tagapakinig. Watching from Echage, Isabela. Ayan, medyo malayo-layo yan. Mabuhay po tayong mga taga Queen of Sheba Biblia. Ayan, God bless po. Ayan, salamat po, Sean Laurinaria. Makikita ng mga ulupong na yan, God is always win, sabi ni Sean. Ras Latap Mendoza, good evening, all of you sirs. Godspeed sa inyong lahat. Kaya di matigil ang vaccination sa bawat bansa. Pagkatakot silang di mapautangan ng World Bank para makautang uli ang bawat bansa. Kaya pilit na pinapatay ang bayan through the vaccines straight from Kawayan City, Isabela. Ayan. Birdie Rolly, magandang hapon po sa inyo. Mabuhay po kayo. God bless from Greece. Ayan, sa Greece po. News up to date. Mas maganda nga yung ivermectin kasi 2-in-1 na. Pwede nang gamitin laban sa Bidco at pwede ring pampurga pa. Ayan. Thank you, News. Cecil Miguel, President Duterte says you can speak to him anytime. Why you guys don't go to the Palace Malacanang to speak to our beloved President regarding all your concerns? Ma'am Cecil Miguel, yung Artikulo 12 nga yung tunay na bakuna sa ekonomiya ay hindi po ginagawa ng ating presidente. ano po, hindi niya ginagawa yan. Hindi niya pinapatupad yung Section 17 at Section 18. Ano po, take over ng public utilities ngayong panahon ng national health emergency para bumaba yung mga presyo ng bilihin. Isa po yan sa itinutulak ng KDP. Joey Lacaran. Ayan, buti ang mga nasa gobyerno tuloy ang mga sahod. Sana yung mga sahod nila binibigay nila sa mga pinasara na maliliit na mga negosyo. Thank you, Joey. Roel, mabuhay po kayo mga sir watching in Cebu City. Amping pagpalain po kayo ng Panginoon. Ang ganda ng programa nyo, may katotohanan tayo. God bless po mga sir. God bless din po. Richie Sento Marcelo, sadya nga bang ganito kapag nakaalam ng katotohanan, nagmumukha kang baliw sa paningin ng iba? Pilit at pilit mo na silang pinaliliwanagan, ngunit ayaw pa rin nilang maniwala. Bagkus ay pagtatawanan ka pa at pagsasabihan ng kung ano-ano. Bagamat mahirap nga ang landas na ito, ang maglakbay ng mag-isa, makabubuti sa lahat. Ayan, napakalalim ng mensahe. Mula naman kay Betchay, hindi sapat na tanggalin. Dapat bitay mga halang kaluluwa ng mga yan. Ito Commander, mukhang galit na ito. No? Hindi lang sapat na, di ba, tanggalin. Bitay talaga. Di ba? O iturok lahat ng vaccine sa kanila. Anyway, Glenn Buwan, in view and in spite of all this, kapalpakan by the government, is there a way out of this? How should we go about it? Sa experience mo, Commander Lay, where important information withheld from you or the general population as to real state of the real state of the disease. Kung hindi naman, balik sa tingin mo, ay kulang o sinasadya yatang itago sa mga mahalagang impormasyon sa mamayan. Commander, pwede mo sagutin ito?
Yeah. Ang nangyari po kasi parang sinesensor tayo and around the president, meron siyang hedge, may nakapaligid sa kanya. Kasi kung totoo po yung sinasabi na libreng or malayang makapunta sa Pangulo, di sana matagal na akong pinatawag. Naglabas pa po ako ng open letter sa Facebook sa presidente. Pinapunta nga po ako ng Malacanang pero ang kumausap sa akin ay si Senator Bongo na head ng medical health ng Health Committee ng Senado. Nandun rin si Executive Secretary Medialdea. Oh. Pero ang nangyari po doon, kumuha lang sila ng gusto nilang sabihin. At hinintay ko po sa kanila na, sige Commander Lay, gawin natin yung mga recommendation mo. Pero after ng meeting po na iyon, nung I think that was June or September of last year. I think June of last year, 2020. Wala na po nangyari. I was expecting them to put me on board so I can do something objective. Mm-hmm. Pero hindi nga po talaga kasi I'm not one of the boys. I'm not with the group. At meron po silang sariling discarding ginagawa. Yung po yung nakalulungkot dahil sabi ko sa kanila, yung pong yung ginagawa po natin na nagpapa-lockdown tapos pagkatapos ng lockdown, tatawagin niyo yung tao lumabas ng bahay dahil kukuha ng ayuda, that is wrong. Kasi super spreader yung ginagawa ninyo. Nakita ko na what's done before. So, they close down the community and then say, we'll open it up kasi you need to get your ayuda. That is very, very wrong. So, yun po. Yun po yung mali doon.
May dadagdag lang ako, Commander Lay. Bukas merong super spreader event mangyayari sa Pampanga. Pupunta yung presidente doon, nando sila Bongo, tataas na yung kamay nila bilang presidente at vice-presidente. 400 na mga traditional na politiko magtitipon doon. Yun, super spreader yun. Dahil malaki. Pero mo 400 na tao, ay naku po. Ay, nako. Okay.
Wala pong safe distancing doon.
Anyway, ay sige po, kung wala na po ay ngayon po ayan, meron pa pala. Oo. Professor Toti, go ahead.
June Cosito, ano po ang gagawin natin para matapos na ang lockdown? Samantalang 99% ang survival, 0.002% ang mortality death. Kay Al Paipa, always watching your program, very informative. Watching
Thank
from
you.
Lapu City in Cebu. From Joa, do you think our government care for the lives of the Filipino people? From Angelio Rolaldes, Bolaños, Henry Kissinger, David Rockefeller, George Bush, sabi nila kailangan ang buong mundo ang mag-suffer ng matinding crisis para tanggapin ang the New World Order, meaning all of the different world crimes ay planado. From Regs Gonzalez, we need the AFP and PNP to support KDP. Butch Valdes as the interim president, then COMELEC. Conduct a clean, snap election for all government positions. Nationalize all public utilities, ASAP. Legalize civilian gun militia groups as second amendment.
Thank you, Regs.
Okay.
Ayan.
Maraming salamat sa inyong mga komento. Okay, Commander Lay, we would like to give you the last few words for any last remarks for our viewers.
Yes, sir. I hope that the conscientious members ng Philippine National Police at ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, ang mga sundalo, mga pulis, yung mga opisyal ay they use their good judgment and go back dun sa what is enshrined in our Constitution. They can see that the people are suffering. They can see that children are suffering. The economy is suffering and everybody is suffering. Everybody needs to make that decision in what they firmly believe in and ask themselves if they are still functioning as designed or they are just doing this for a small group of people while the rest, the 110 million Filipinos overseas and here inside the islands, look at what's happening sa bawat isa sa atin. And these lockdowns, they should stop. So, kay Presidente Duterte, I hope, sir, you will see and realize, I know you're surrounded by a good number of people. Most of them are generals, my upperclassmen. I'm appealing to my upperclassmen, sir. I hope and pray you will, sirs and ma'am, use your good judgment and think about the welfare, the real welfare of the people. Please look at us, go down to our level and see what's happening to us. You guys are eating good dinners, good breakfast, and good lunches, and good meals. While the rest of the people na walang trabaho, hanaboy, siguro sa hindi nyo sila nakikita ngayon. But for us here, I see them on the streets every day. I even raise yung aking binibigay na when I see people on the streets asking for money, kids, nanay, tatay, matatanda, in a pandemic, and these people are not wearing any protective gears. And I say, what is happening to our country, sir? And kayo po, sir, ang may kapangyarihan para to give us and the proper instructions and direction for the country and stop the sufferings of your people, sir. Please look at us and hear us. Salamat po.
Salamat, Commander Lay. At maraming salamat po sa mga sumubay sa atin, si Micaela Montaño, kay Ms. Levi Ordenes, kay Ms. Ruby Ann Kagawan, kay Genesis Mirano, kay Jed Mercader Jr. At itong lingkod, Toti Casiño, nawagan po namin sa mga 1 milyon o 2 milyon mga naghahanap buhay o nagsasweldo, nagsasahod sa ating pamalaan. Gumising na pinagpalat, meron kayong tinatanggap na pangsahod, mga kain. Pero 99% ng ating mamayan ay talagang patay gutom na. Sana itigilan na natin itong lokohan na ito at itawan niya natin itong pagsusuporta sa isang pamahalaan sa mga makapangyarihan na nangaapi sa ating mamayan. Paalala po, ito ko, Toti Casiño.
Magandang gabi po.
Okay, nagpapasalamat din ako kay Commander Lay at sa lahat ng ating mga panuin. At tama po yung sinasabi nila at ni Commander Lay kanina. These are very special and critical times. Actually extraordinary dahil wala pa pong panahon sa ating kasaysayan na dinadanas natin itong ganitong klaseng krisis. Ang resulta ay nagsisimatayan ng ating mga mamamayan. Hindi lang po dahil sa krisis ng COVID, sa sakit, kundi dito sa walang trabaho, nagsesira ang ekonomiya natin. Malalang-malala na po ang sitwasyon natin. Sana po ang ating kasundaluhan, bagamat sila ay hindi nawawalan ng sweldo, tuloy-tuloy po ang kanilang sahod. No? Pero sa ating pong karamihan ng mga mamamayan, mga arawan ng sweldo na nagsesera, gutom po at sakit ng kanilang ninaranasan. Our nation is collapsing in process of a very deep depression. No? At kung hindi natin maagapan to, baka wala na po tayong republika na masasabing sovereign nation. So in order for us to save it, in order for us to save the nation, kailangan po magkaisa na po tayong lahat at magsama-sama tayo at baligtarin natin ang mga ngayon na nangyayari. Kung ang ating liderato ay may responsibilidad dito at may mga kakulangan, kailangan tanggalin po natin sila. No? At gawin natin yung tama para sa ating mga mamamayan. So we have to get together. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Salamat po kay Ma'am Genesis, no? Kay kay Ma'am Levy, kay Ruby Ann, no? Siyempre, sa lahat po ng mga sumubaybay dito sa Katipunan channel. At ako po, ang basa ko po sa sitwasyon ngayon ay may malalim na plano na ginagawa ang pasistang gobyerno na ito. Ginagamit na po ito sa paghahanda sa politika sa darating na taong 2022. Ang pandemiko na ito ay ini-stretch na nila. Hindi lang ito simpleng pagnanakaw sa kaban ng bayan, kung hindi titiyakin ng mga pasistang leader natin na nais nilang magpatuloy ang pagkontrol sa buong kinabukasan ng sambayan ng Pilipino. Para lumaya tayo ay balikan natin ang sinabi ng dakilang bayaning paralitiko, isang revolusyonaryo, isang tunay na leader ng Katipunan, walang iba kundi si Apolinario Mabini. Ang sinabi po ni Apolinario Mabini ay tumpak na tumpak po sa ating kalagayan ngayon. Ang sabi po niya, upang maintindig natin ang bantayog ng ating lipunan, kailangang radikal nating baguhin hindi lamang ang mga institusyon, kundi ang ating pag-iisip at pamumuhay. Sabay-sabay po natin itaas ang ating kanang kamay at isigaw ng malakas, mabuhay ang Pilipinas!
Mabuhay!